so much for joining us. Very excited to have you all in the room and talking about this topic. And of course, we've got some fantastic experts to share their insights with us. So a couple of intro questions to our experts before we break into small groups. How have you segmented your business stakeholders, and can an organisation be both customer and employee first?
Yep.
It wasn't a question that I was expecting, so we'll just go with it. Look, at a high pages, we're lucky because we're smaller, and given that we're a marketplace, we are seeing both sides of the equation from the tradies and the consumers. And because I'm the CCO, so I'm really responsible for the customer. I will look across sales, service, and marketing, but I work, very, very closely with Jodette. We did a piece of work 6 months or so ago on defining our category, and it really got deep into what was the customer problem of our category. And if you really think about what it's like to find a tradie, engage that tradie, communicate with the tradie, get a good job done, pay for that tradie, and then maybe share your experiences, I think if we did a show of hands, everybody would say that it's a very frustrating, and in fact we describe it as a feat of mutual endurance. Because it's just as painful for the tradie as it is for the consumer. And we use this category work to really ground ourselves in the consumer problem that we defined, and it's actually shaped, on the consumer side, it's shaped everything from our product roadmap to some rebranding work that we're doing. And even on the EX side, it's shaped our purpose and mission, and Jodette's going to talk about that a little bit later. But I guess by really being clear on who we wanted to be and what the customer problem was we're looking to address, it's meant that we're really keeping the consumer at the heart of everything that we're doing.
I think if you hire for people who want to solve your customer problem, you're going to get there. So when we are looking at bringing people into safety culture, we hire for, one of our values is think customer, and we hire for that value. Anyone who doesn't understand the customer problem and doesn't really want to solve the customer problem, we don't really want them to come and work at safety culture. So I think when you hire for the customer problem and you hire problem solvers who are interested in it, then it's not even a question about which is more of a priority, because your employees are absolutely going to look after your customer, because that's what you've hired them to do at the end of the day. So I think it's relatively straightforward. But what I will say is that I think our people team also learn from our product teams as well, and they take a very product management approach to how they service our team members who are their customers at the end of the day. So we work in an agile startup. It's all about shipping regularly to our customers, and I think our people team do exactly the same to our employees. They want to get new things out to them. They see them as a customer. They want to ship, they want to get feedback, they want to iterate on a model. So I think in our kind of startup environment, the people team learn from our product teams, and we see our people as our customers, and we hire for people who want to solve the customer problem and want to be part of the mission. I think that's a really important thing of being part of a startup. You get to hire people from the ground up who want to solve the problem.
Thank you.
Cool. Just to echo some of the points that Pam's already made, I was kind of pondering this thought on the way here this evening, just thinking about some of the things that would be pertinent for people, to share some of the lessons that we see with clients in our business. Some are working very well within the EX space, others within the CX space, some are doing both across the hybrid. Having a chat with Fiona at the beginning, we had to share a few war stories around where our business is at and what's going on. I think what I'm finding the fascinating piece now is that whole bringing the whole customer experience and employee experience piece together, to the extent that, like the role that Fiona's in now, Chief Experience Officer, that these roles are popping up increasingly in businesses. So I think that trend's already started to happen, it's happening, and it's only going to continue. So let's get excited about joining those two dots, really.
Thank you. Thanks. So based on your experience, what do you think is the biggest barrier for organisations in getting customer and employee experience right? And what advice do you have for organisations embarking on that journey? You may.
it's almost like you want to get in there quick before everyone else goes with the answers. So I've got in there quickly. I love the word, the use of the word experience then, so well done for dropping that into the conversation. Barrier, I would say, what I love about my role is obviously sitting and seeing what other businesses are doing, as I kind of mentioned before. I think the biggest barrier is actually just get going.
Yep.
So with any of this, with the technology that you've got today, with and already increasingly understanding the importance of both employee and customer experience and the link between the two, it's just get going, gather some data, learn, iterate, and keep moving forward, because you're going to get great insights. So that's my kind of gem on that.
For me, I think the most important thing is executive support. So I think whilst it can be a no-brainer to most of us that employee experience and customer experience is important, I'm sure most of us have worked in companies where you could ask people who the customer was and what they feel and think, and there'd be no idea. So I think it's the companies that are leading edge and are successful that do that very well. But if you don't have that executive support, so I'm talking from the board level down and particularly the executive team, it's not going to get the resources and the budget and the focus. It's customer experience, employee experience needs to be part of your company's strategy. So I remember that was one of the key reasons I joined hipages. So I met with the board and they asked me to present kind of my vision for people and culture, and I went big and went exactly what I wanted to deliver. And at the end of that presentation, the board said, "Love it, want you to do it all. You don't have enough resources, let's give you more resources." All right, so what you want to hear. And then the founders themselves, they genuinely care about people and care about the employee experience. And I'd got to the point in my career where I'd run out of energy and motivation that to have to actually argue for doing the right thing and doing what we should be doing strategically on the employee experience side. So our founders really did set the tone for hipages, and the great employee experience that we have here is really a testament to them. So I'd say executive support is one of the barriers or one of the enablers of success.
Thank you.
Can I be really literal? I think it's really important. When I joined Safety Culture, there was maybe like 25 of us, so everyone was on the phone speaking to the customer. You just had to do it, like whether you worked in finance, you worked in engineering, it was just part of what everyone did. You were on the phone to customers, you were out at customer sites, you were responding to customers. Even when you get double the size, triple the size, the gap between you and the customer has to be the same as it was when you're 20, whether you're 40, whether you're 200 or 2,000. And so keeping your employees really close to the customer, and I know we make everyone, and they shit themselves at this, but in the first week we get them on support calls, and so everyone who joins Safety Culture sits on the phone and answers the phone to customers. They respond to customer tickets, they go on customer site visits, and it's so grounding and so educational and so rewarding to get that. Everyone goes on site visits, we've got customer pictures all around the office. So just closing the gap every single day between every single employee, regardless of role, and the customer, what they feel, the customer pain, the customer problem, is so important. So you've got a really, really introverted software engineer from Brazil who lands in Australia, and he meets me and I'm like, so tomorrow we're going to sit in customer experience, and they're just like looking at you just terrified. But the absolute delight after a couple of hours of speaking to our customers is just you just can't underestimate the investment of time spent speaking to customers.
I think that one of the biggest barriers to achieving this is the genuine conflict between customer outcomes and commercial outcomes. And I spent 4 years in the banking industry before I came to work at hipages, and basically if you pick apart the Royal Commission issues, it's where people, teams or individuals have made decisions probably at the commercial betterment of the organisation they work for, and probably at the detriment of customers. And I think that's a natural tension that we feel every single day. And one of the things that attracted me to joining hipages was our values, and one of them is being genuine. And I think if you apply the lens of being genuine when you're making these decisions, whether it's pricing decisions, customer decisions. What do we do if a customer's on their contract and they maybe have an injury? How do we communicate to our customers in our scripts? I think if you apply that lens, that value lens, and be guided by the values, then you'll get it right most of the time. And I sit on the floor out here right now, I've got customer service behind me and I've got sales in front of me, and it sounds like I'm in Town Hall Station most of the time, but that keeps me very genuine because all day I hear our guys talking to customers. And I guess that anchors me down into what it's really all about, and it helps me resolve those tensions between commercial and customer outcomes.